After having been delayed 3 times from its original May 2020 release date, Black Widow has finally been released in theaters and with premiere access on Disney+. But has it been worth the wait? Let's talk about that. Hello everybody and welcome to the Animated Apparel Company YouTube channel. I'm your resident superhero nerd, Aaron Waller, and in today's video we wanted to take a look at the latest Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, Black Widow. But before we get started, I want to remind you to check out AnimatedApparelCompany.com for all your awesome nerdy merch from Marvel, DC, Star Wars, video games, anime, and so much more. We actually just dropped a couple of pretty sweet Black Widow pieces that you can find using the link down in the description, and even use my promo code AARON20 to get 20% off your order. After over a decade in the MCU, Black Widow has finally gotten her own solo movie, and this one actually takes place between the events of Captain America Civil War and Avengers Infinity War. So if you've been wondering why is this solo movie taking place now you know in the context of the timeline why it's happening. And in this movie, we get a bit of backstory to Natasha Romanoff's past as an agent of the Red Room. But for more info on that, check out my History of Black Widow video that just recently came out. It will give you so much more context to her comic history. And in her solo movie debut, she's fighting to take down the Red Room as well as Taskmaster, a villain who can mimic the fighting style of any person they see. But she's gonna need the help of her Red Room sister Yelena and her not-so-parents Melina and Alexei, aka Red Guardian. Now this movie was long overdue, not only in the sense that it was delayed a couple of times, but also because she's been in the MCU for way longer than a lot of other characters such as Captain Marvel or Doctor Strange, characters who just got their own solo movie and then were integrated into the MCU. She's been there for a long time and she should have had this solo movie a long time ago. But let's get into the movie and let's start with the good stuff. I like that this movie was very female driven, obviously with Black Widow, but also by adding Yelena, an awesome character who's likely to take the Widow mantle, very much like Sam Wilson took Cap's. But this film has a female director and an entire assassination team of widows being female, which is A+. The fight scenes were also incredibly strong. The very first fight between Black Widow and Taskmaster was brilliant. I loved seeing the abilities on display and it was amazing. But as the movie progressed, things slowed down a bit and there was some much needed character development because Black Widow is an always on the move character. But it wasn't always her getting the development, and considering it's her movie, that's not exactly a plus. Some of the best characters of this movie weren't even Black Widow. In fact, David Harbour's Alexei, aka Red Guardian, is really good, and even though he's often played for comic relief more than anything else, he's probably one of the more enjoyable characters. But the star hands down has to be Florence Pugh's Yelena. She worked very well not only for comedy's sakes, but also driving certain plot points and having a bit of a deeper backstory than Scarlett Johansson's Natasha. She's likely to take up the mantle and I genuinely cannot wait. And I think that's pretty much where the positives of this movie end for me. A lot of it kicks into G.I. Joe over-the-top territory that is actually hilarious considering G.I. Joe Snake Eyes movie comes out later this month. The advertised villain Taskmaster's identity reveal is somewhat surprising, but also a bit of a dud. I was really banking on it being a specific character, but it turned out I was wrong. It was a better reveal than what I thought it was going to be, but it was still extremely cheesy. The later plot points, action scenes, and overall development become extremely lame and cheesy as well. And I know I'll likely get a lot of flack for saying this, but I really wasn't feeling this movie. I just felt like it was a little bit too over the top for such a grounded character, and although they nailed the espionage point, it just felt like watching G.I. Joe Retaliation or G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra, where it's just extra cheesy and just a little too over the top for such an awesome character. But in the end, the question is, was this movie worth it? Yes and no. I don't recommend running out to the theaters or paying the extra $30 for the Disney Plus Premiere Access to watch this movie. Should you watch it, especially if you're a fan of Marvel? Absolutely. But unless you're absolutely dedicated to Marvel and absolutely need to see this movie and rush out to see it, then by all means do it. But you have plenty of other Marvel content such as WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and the Loki series coming out regularly in a subscription that you may already be paying for, that you can still get your Marvel fix. You don't have to rush out and see it. We already know where Black Widow ends up by the end of this as her events in Avengers Endgame, so it's really not necessary to see it unless you really want more Black Widow, which is still fine. It's an enjoyable movie, but you don't need to see it right away. But now I want to hear from you guys. If you have seen Black Widow, let me know what your thoughts and opinions are down in the comment section down below. Also, while you're down there, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell notification so you don't miss on any future videos from me or the rest of the AAC team, including our live streams. Joey does Star Wars, Jake does video games, Ash covers anime, and of course I cover Disney and superheroes. And you don't want to miss out on any of our content as we have new content daily. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. We really do appreciate it, and we hope to see you in the next video.